What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another late night in the Brew-Lab with me, Lone Fox, your Brewmaster in Chief. And tonight in the Brew-Lab, I'm coming at you with the final episode of Spoiler Talk. It is, the final day of spoilers. The usual protocol is for them to dump the remainder of the commons onto our laps, and yeah, this is it. The entire set has been spoiled. From tomorrow, I can start theory crafting in earnest, and to be honest, I'm a little bit looking forward to it. And what I would love to hear from you guys, my community, is which website do you use for theory crafting? Do you just simply use either hub, or is there a better one? Because I would love to do more of it, but I find that the deck builder on either hub is really, really clunky and tough to build decks with. And so, yeah, I would love to know if there's a website that I haven't heard of yet in the comments down below. But without further ado, let's jump into some spoilers. There's lots of them. I'm not going to read every single card tonight. I think we're just going to kind of skim through and see if there's any commons that stand out. So first of all, we've got these lands, and they're using, I believe, the names that we already had for these lands when they were in standard last, which I believe was maybe it was a core set. I'm not entirely sure, but wasn't Ikoria? Anyway, they're back. They're just poor man's chill lands, dual lands of some kind that everybody has access to. They're common, you can just have them. They'll be available in your lands tab in the deck builder on the client. So that's pretty cool. They always enter the battlefield tapped, but you gain 1 life. And in some decks, that's pretty cool. I think maybe some of the like Selesnya life gain decks, the budget ones, will be definitely interested in running Blossoming Sands over here. But, not everybody has the wild cards or the money to buy the rare dual lands. Now, every budget deck can have access to dual lands, and there's a nice little upside of gaining a life when they come into play. So I'm happy they've brought these back. Then, except of these lands that we've got up until here, there's one that isn't these dual lands, and it's Uncharted Haven. But nothing really special to report here. It just enters the battlefield tapped as well, which is terrible. And then when it enters the battlefield, we choose a color, and then for the rest of the game, it'll add 1 mana of the chosen color. Nothing special. Then we've got... There was one here that really stood out to me. Well, first of all, they left us with 1 rare. The Eater of Virtue. There's a 1 mana legendary artifact equipment. So it's not one of these artifact creature equipments, which is quite nice. A little bit harder to remove, in my opinion. And it's an interesting card. Basically, whenever equipped creature dies, exile it. And then equipped creature gets +2/+0, which is pretty nice. And then, as long as a card exiled with Eater of Virtue had either flying, then the equipped creature has flying. And the same is true for first strike, double strike, death touch, haste, hexproof, indestructible, you name it. So I had an idea with this. Imagine you respond to a sweeper, for example, with a snakeskin veil on your creature that has been equipped by Eater of Virtue. You then, of course, lose all your creatures because of the sweeper, but Eater of Virtue stays behind. You play the next creature. Essentially, that creature, when it died, did have hexproof on it. Okay, as long as the exiled card had flying, the creature has flying. It doesn't say how it got the flying. So like, I can imagine this being pretty cool, like way of storing your creature's abilities onto an equipment, and then every time you bring back another creature, you just equip it for a very cheap equip cost of 1, and now that creature gains all of the abilities of, well, not the abilities, but the flying, death touch, double strike. That's pretty much, I think they've protection, even reach. They put like pretty much everything on there. So pretty nice. Sucks that it doesn't also get ward. But a sweet little equipment, and definitely one with some jank potential, and that I'm definitely going to be playing. But then we've got another one here that I wanted to point out, Ecologist Terrarium. Funny how they put them side by side. When at ETBs, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle, and then you can pay 2, tap it, sacrifice it, and then you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It's not a bad little common. But yeah, I mean, what I'm highly recommend is that you guys all go and check out these for yourselves. The things with commons is sometimes they're the best card in the set. They're like absolute, like become complete staples. I can't think of the last time that there was one that really kind of shook up the whole meta. But occasionally there's a really nice commons that we do need to keep our eyes open for. I always especially like looking at the cheap ones, Turn 1 plays. Target permanent you control gains hexproof and indestructible. There we go. Ooh, I've been waiting to find a cheap indestructible and hexproof. That's really nice. I wish it wasn't just target permanent, but we need another thing. I've said this before, like heroic intervention in the format to give everything indestructibility. Just a little bit of extra protection against these Blood on the Snow decks. There's so many good sweepers that would just be nice to have a way of saving more than one creature. But this is nice. This is a nice little common. And the gain 2 life is a nice little upside. And, if somehow the opponent is exiling you. Nah, there's no way they can. I guess the only way they can get you with this is like Shadow's Verdict if your creature is lower than mana value 3. And then the Eater of Virtue wouldn't get these abilities because the thing would be exiled and not dying. But that's one way of giving a creature hexproof and indestructible, which is quite nice. Jukai Preserver. When it enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. No, that's just typical. It's nice that it's also planeswalker. Typical fight spell in green. Mostly for draft, probably. Enchant Land. When it enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature or vehicle you control. Enchanted Land has tap, add 2 mana of any one color. Nice. That's not bad. I'm trying to think of the last time one of these was playable. I think it was that. There was one that was seen that saw quite a lot of play in the like Sultai Ultimatum deck. Enchant target land, and then it would produce double the. It was like a way of ramping. Can't remember. And then you could like sack it and make a 2/2 little wolf token or something. Wolf Willow Haven. I think Wolf Willow Haven was 2 mana, and that's why it was just so much better. At 3 mana, Maybe I'll just skip through a couple and like look for the uncommons, but there really aren't any. It's just commons today. It was just that one, like down here, one uncommon and one rare, and then just commons for the rest of the day. So that's why you can see I'm not too interested in reading through the whole thing. I like this art. We did see this spoiled in the spoilers, early spoiler season, like in the very first video they released. Whenever another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Okay. 2 damage, target creature planeswalker. If this spell's additional cost was paid, deals 4 damage instead. What? What? You kidding me? An easily obtainable 1 mana deals 4. At instant speed, you just sacrifice a treasure token or a blood token. That is freaking amazing. Creature or planeswalker. There we go. These little hidden gems that one comes across in the common piles. That's a really good card in my opinion. You know, this little little artifacts that we can sacrifice that are pretty easy to obtain and plentiful. And then you've just got a 1 mana deals 4 to creature or planeswalker. Phew. That's a great little card. Oh, nice. Target creature gets +1/+1 and gains first strike. Oh, okay, sorry. I'm looking for one of these that gives double strike. It's been a while since we've had a good one. Just to put on your Goldspan Dragon. Tammy's Flare. 3 damage. Creature planeswalker. Also deals 2 damage to that permanent's controller if you control a modified creature. There we go. That's another nice little one. 3 damage +2 to face. So 5 damage total output for 2 mana. And all you need to have is a modified creature. In a deck that wants to play this, you're definitely going to have that. It'll probably take the place of, Dragon's Fire in a deck that doesn't play dragons. So as a 2-drop, 3 damage instant with a bit of an upside. I quite like that. Not going to look too much at these creatures. Maybe some of the instants in the auras can be good. Enchant artifact or creature. By the way, with regards to these things, it's now starting to become perfectly clear to me what's going to happen. It says, I was reading one here. It's like when it's a creature, they had to word it that way specifically because of no, I can't find it. But basically, when we equipping these new artifact creature constructs or artifact creature equipments that have reconfigure, there'll be certain effects that like target. I'll find it. 1 second. Target creature you control deals damage. Target creature you don't control. Here, as long as enchanted permanent is a creature, for example, it's because there's going to be things, and in this particular set, it's of course those artifact creature equipments that are switching between being creatures and equipments, and these auras that can enchant artifacts or creatures need to have that on it. So if you enchant with this aura one of your artifact creature equipments as it's a creature, and then you equip that creature as an equipment onto another creature you control, that other creature you control isn't going to get the buff that the artifact creature got when it was a creature from the aura, if that makes any freaking sense. I hope it does, but that's why they had to word it like that, and now you know, it's cleared up that confusion for me. Next up, what do we got here? Destroy up to one target artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on up to one target creature. Nice little artifact removal in red. They've always can only just get rid of artifacts, not enchantments. We all know that. These I would probably just rather run a braid. Although in a deck that wants to be modifying things, that might be okay. Then we've got an experimental synthesizer. I just like the name. When it enters the battlefield or leaves the battlefield. That's cool because it's like blinkable when it says leaves the battlefield. Exile the top card of your library. Until the end of turn, you may play that card. This with like, again, whenever it says just leave the battlefield, there's been a few already. Then I just think about teleportation circle. Because then you get both triggers every turn. Enters the battlefield, draw, exile the But yeah, that wouldn't be too nice. Then you can pay 3 mana, sacrifice it, and make a 2/2 white samurai creature token with vigilance. Nice. Enchant land you control. Enchanted land is a 3/3 red spirit creature with haste, and it's still a land. If enchanted land would be destroyed, instead of sacrifice crackling emergence, and that land gains indestructible until end of turn. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And then it just goes back to being a land. That's really nice. I mean, it's not an incredible card, but I really like that. I've always had that problem whenever you make one of your lands into a creature, and there's plenty of ways of doing that, mostly in green and blue. The opponent just removes the land, and now you're just down one land and a creature. This is a way of, like, not only does it get haste, it can attack straight away, but if it gets destroyed, you just sacrifice Crackling Emergence and you save your land. That's pretty cool. Next up, we've got Ambitious Assault. Creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. If you control a modified creature, draw a card. Nice. Maybe in the little goblins deck, as the picture might entail. Virus Beetle. When it ETBs, draw a card. Each opponent discards a card. Meh. There's the acquisitions expert, or what was the guy, the party from the party set. Probably still better. Yeah, the acquisitions expert. To reveal, pick. This might be just worse. Undercity Scrounger. Create a treasure token. So again, still a little bit of treasures lingering around in the set. This is probably the 3rd or 4th card that I've seen that still makes treasures in Kamigawa. So pretty cool. And you can only activate it if a creature died this turn. The other card that made treasures was also black, I think. Might be some synergies there. We'll have to keep an eye on that one. Twisted Embrace. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. So it's an aura, and in a set where auras matters and enchantments matters and this kind of thing, that's pretty cool. And usually auras that are removals just give the enchanted creature minus something. In this case, you're putting it on one of your creatures, which it gives it +1/+1 and modifies it, which is going to be important. But then when this Twisted Embrace enters the battlefield, you get to destroy target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. So it's a 4-mana removal spell that also, buffs one of your creatures and perhaps triggers your enchantment synergies and things. So that's probably pretty nice little spell there. Surprisingly common, this one. Then we've got Return to Action. Till end of turn, target creature gets +1/+0 and gains lifelink. When this creature dies, return it. Okay, another one of these effects, kind of a feign death, Malkir, Rebirth. Oh, there's been a lot of them lately. This one's 1 mana more expensive, but you do get the lifelink, and oh, that might be nice, or nicer than one of the others. Reckoner's Bargain. As an initial cost to cast a spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature. You gain life equal to the sacrificed permanent's mana value. Draw 2 cards. Man, some sweet little commons. Add instant speed, kind of like a village rights for your artifacts decks. And you gain a bit of life. Draw 2 cards. You could gain decent life there. Imagine if it's like, one of your... That's actually an incredible card. Imagine it's like your big important creature. Your opponent targets it. It's like something that costs you 4 or 5 mana to cast. You gain 5 life and you draw 2 cards. And then maybe just reanimate that thing. Nice. Reckoner's Bargain. Keep your eyes peeled on that one. I mean, Deadly Dispute's common. Village Rights is common. Those cards see loads of play, so you never know with these commons. Next up, Reckoner's Shakedown. And I've just turned into, okay, I'm just going to read all of them. What did I skip down here? I just went kind of glossed over the green ones. Now we saw that one. +1/+1 counter. Channel. Put a +1/+1 counter on up to 2 target creatures. That's nice. We did look at Tanya's safekeeping. Returning things from graveyards to hand at 3 mana. That's a typical green spell. Add little 2 mana mana dork. 3 mana 4/3 with vigilance. Beg your pardon. Crew 1 is really cheap. 2 crew. When it ETBs, each kind of counter on each... Wait. Wow. When Dramatis Puppet enters the battlefield, for each kind of counter on target opponent, put another counter on that kind of it and remove it. 1 from it. What? Okay. Not entirely sure what that's for, but pretty cool. You can add or remove counters of certain things. Either put more on one of yours or remove one from one of the others. Enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. When it dies, if it had counters on it, put those counters on target creature you control. Okay, we've seen a lot of those lately. Now it's just an artifact one. Pretty cool. Network Terminal. 3 mana dork. Mana rock. Tap another untapped artifact you control. Draw a card, then discard a card. Ninja's Kunai. 1 mana equipment. Your creature has 1 tap, sacrifice Kunai, deals 3 damage to any target. Equip 1. That's also not terrible. There's probably better things you can be doing, but it's still not a terrible card. Maybe in draft. When Paper Decoy leaves the battlefield, you may pay 2 if you draw a card. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token. Spirits are, wow, I think spirits are going to be really good. When Shrine enters the battlefield, you may search a library for an aura or shrine card reveal. Ooh, okay, here we go. 5 mana though. Couldn't be bothered. Alright, so I didn't really skip over much down here. Exile target artifact or enchantment. I guess at 3 mana, this is the typical cost for these. Kill artifacts, enchantments, things. I guess in a set where there's lots of artifacts and enchantments and ways of getting them back from the graveyard, we might want to be exiling them instead of just destroying them. So that's probably where this comes into play. Commune with spirits. Look at the top 4. Reveal land. Put in your hand. Rest of the bottom library. Okay, we've caught up. Where was I? Target opponent reveals their hand. If you do, play discard that card. If you don't, put 2+1/+1 counters. Meh. Kami of Terrible Secrets. 4 mana, 3/4. When it ETBs, if you control an artifact or enchantment, you draw a card and you gain 1 life. Meh. 5 mana, 3/3. When enter the battlefield, choose 1. Turn 1 target ninja or rogue creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. Okay. Next up, Kaito's Pursuit. Target player discards 2 cards. Ninjas and rogue you control gains menace until end of turn. Epic. Oh, really epic. Oh, super duper epic. I hope you guys can see why I think that. That like finisher in the ninjutsu deck, the opponent might still be holding up like a Fading Hope or a removal spell or something. You can just like boop, discard those. Give all your rogues or ninjas menace, so now they can't be blocked or harder to block. And now you can ninjutsu something in your hand that's going to win you the game. Nice. Debt to the Kami. 3 mana instant. Choose 1. Target opponent exiles a creature they control. Target opponent exiles an enchantment they control. Nice. It's been a while since they had one of these. I'm thinking of... Oh my goodness. There was like a picture of a spilling cup with poison getting poured out. The last one that we had that was at 3 mana at instant with these same options, except it wasn't exile, it was destroyed. Creature or enchantment. That's really nice for black. Of course, we're not getting any targeted enchantment removal in black. They'll almost never give us that. There's Feed the Swarm right now in standard, but huge downside. This just gets the opponent to exile 1. Of course, they get to choose which one. So if you want to get rid of a specific one, this only works when there's only that one on the table. But it's still a nice thing to know that you have access to in standard. It's been a while. Chlorine Torment. As long as Enchanted Permanent is a creature, it gets -1/-1 and can't block. Enchanted Permanent has at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life. That's nice. One of those that I was just talking about, where you put it on the opponent's creatures. Can be removal on a 1/1. You just put this on a Elite Spellbinder. Bye. But I think you want to be putting this onto something that the opponent doesn't have a way of immediately sacrificing or whatever, and that by making it have -1/-1 makes it a lot more manageable, and then you're having them lose life every turn. When Chain Flail Centipede or equipped creature attacks, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Reconfigure to meh. Suit up. Until end of turn, target creature vehicles becomes an artifact creature with base power toughness 4/5. Draw a card. Cool. Sky Swimmer Koi. Flying Fish. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Oh, why did it have to be? And then you discard a card. Too expensive. Too weakly statted. Meh. Next up. Short Circuit Flash. Nice. As long as Enchanted Permanent is creature, it gets -3/-0 and loses flying. Here's what's his name? Gigataxius or whatever. Gengataxius, whatever. Exile target artifact or creature, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Nice. Little way of saving one of your guys. You just target your own creature. It's now saved from sweeper, it's saved from targeted removal. This even saves it from Fading Hope. I beg your pardon. Not Fading Hope. Banish Shadow's Verdict. This would save your cards even from Shadow's Verdict, which is pretty cool. Moonfolk Puzzle Maker. 3 mana, 1/4 flyer. Enter the battlefield tapped, scry 1. Mnemonic Sphere. Pay 2, sack it, draw 2 cards. Or channel it for 1, draw a card. That's not bad at all. That's not a bad little card either. Ooh, we got another crab. Crab Tribal is starting to shape up. We've now got kind of maybe enough crabs. Mirror Shell Crab. 5. Oh, and there's that angler guy in Alchemy that gets all the seafood out the water. Do seafood tribal. 5/7 for 7 mana with ward 3. And you can channel it. Counter target spell or ability. Counter target spell or ability. Ability is nice. This is controller pays 3. Nice. Futurist Sentinel. 6/6 for 4 through 3. Meh. Disruption Protocol. 2 mana instant. As an additional cost to cast a spell, tap an untapped artifact you control, or pay 1. It's a 3 mana counter spell, basically. Wanderer's Intervention. Wanderer's Intervention deals 4 damage to target attacking or block creature. So the rare channel land from white does this on a land. Insane. Repel the Vial. Choose 1. Exile target creature with power 4 greater. Exile target enchantment. Bit expensive, but not bad. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn if it is an enchantment creature or a legendary creature. Instead, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Hey, that's not a bad little spell either. I love the art on that. It's a fox. More foxes. 1 mana, 1/1 flyer, which. And you can pay 4 and tap target creature. That's a bit much, man. Well, now we know why you're common. Lucky Offering. 1 mana. Destroy target artifact with mana value 3 or less. You gain 3 life. Hey, that's not bad. I wish they would make this target artifact and enchantment. It would just be so much better. Another Kitsune Ace. Another pilot, Fox Pilot. Whenever a vehicle you control attacks, choose 1. That vehicle gains first strike until end of turn. Or you untap Kitsune Ace. I guess you crew your vehicle with the ace, so you're tapping it. Then you attack with said vehicle. You untap Kitsune Ace. Really, really on point with the flavor. Oh, sorry. Were we racing? Then we've got Intercessor's Arrest. China permanent can't attack, block, or crew vehicles. Its activated abilities can't be activated unless they want mana abilities. Okay, another one of these 3 mana things that does that. There's always one in every set, almost, feels like. 3 mana, 3/4 vehicle. Ooh, another uncommon. And there we go, we've reached the end. Whenever Imperial Recovery unit attacks, return target creature or vehicle card with mana value 2 or less from a graveyard to your hand. Seems like there could be some kind of like Orzhov sacrifice your vehicles deck coming up with that rat guy from the other day and this guy. They're both 3-drops though, and they're kind of similar things. You're probably better off just playing the rat guy, but that's very legendary. You might want to have like 3 of 1 and you know what I mean. Next up, Imperial Oath, 6 mana. create 3 2/2 white samurai creature tokens with vigilance. Scry 3. That's a really cool thing to have written on a card. It's just unfortunate that it costs so much mana. So probably won't see any play. Golden Tail Disciple. A Fox Monk with lifelink. Unfortunately, Fox Tribal, they didn't boost it as much as I was hoping they would with these Kitsunes. There is a couple of insane ones, but the support cards for a proper tribal deck don't seem to be fantastic. But of course, we're definitely going to try it. And then last but not least, the final card in the spoilers, guys. Kamigawa Neon Dynasty Complete Set. Dragonfly Suit. 3/2 for 3 with flying, crew 1. Alright. So nothing insane standing out from today. I do quite like this Eater of Virtue. A couple of really nice little commons, especially here in the red. There was a couple of nice instants that I liked. There was this one over here that I think is really, really good. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What is your favorite card of the day? And yeah, I'll see you all tomorrow with a fresh brew. I have to just, full disclosure, just append this little announcement at the end of this spoiler talk episode. But I'm at that point where we're like really close to a new set dropping, and the format feels completely dead right now. Like it's just Orzhov control, Orzhov control, Orzhov control. I'm struggling to make decks that are good. So we're probably just going to be playing a bunch of jank over the next couple of days while we wait for Kamigawa Neon Dynasty to drop on Arena on February 10th. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you all tomorrow. And until then, this is Lone Fox from the Brew-Lab, signing out. Peace, y'all.